What's up, YouTube? This is Galaxy Stream here, captain of Team No Fat Chicks, the NFC, the best team of Illinois State. Gave you my deck profile for the Fire Kings of this format, July 2014. Now, I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm not going to be covering my side deck or my extra deck. If you want to check those out, check out my Nationals video. They have not changed. I have only been focusing on the main board. The main board is the most important part of any early format because the meta has not been established yet, so you really cannot make a sideboard. So, apologize, but once I do have an established sideboard where I feel the meta will be good, I will post a video with that sideboard. So, let's get straight into the video, and I apologize, it's going to be my hands shifting down my camera because I don't have the editing software at the moment. That is at my buddy's house. So, first things first, 2 Big Gay Chicken. I did cut it down from 3 to 2 because of all the extra draw power the deck has now, and with this new rule of being only able to have your first 5 cards and not draw, you don't want to see this, ever. You never want to see this in your opening hand. It is so bad. So, 2 helps mitigate, get that out, and lower the chances of opening it. Then you have your standard 3 Yaksha and 3 Barong. Your standard 1 Wolfbark. Wish I could play 2, but now it's so easy to play it at 1 that it's just common nature. 1 Bear. And I bumped this up from 2 to 3 Murmillo. Murmillo is, in my opinion, the glue of this deck because it's its own 3-card plus engine. So, really like this card right now. I really liked it testing at Nationals. At Nationals, I just played this deck because it was my best deck to play right now. But at the same time, I only wanted to test coming in for the new format. So, this, I found out this is the best card to open up with if you don't have your combo pieces. So, bumped up to 3. Do not regret it at all. And that's 13 monsters. Still, only 13. So basically for the monsters, I took out 1 Garunix to put in 1 Murmillo. On to the spells. Got your Accelerator, Throttle, your 3 Onslaught of the Fire Kings, your 2 Circle. This is definitely has to only be played at 2 right now. I do not recommend playing this at 3 for anyone out there who has any discrepancies. This card is insanely dead early on in the game because you don't have any targets for it. And if you open up Murmillo, it's an Earth target, so you can't do anything with it. So this card needs to only be searched into or drawn into mid-game. Other than that, though, you just don't want to draw into it. You don't want to draw into multiple copies, especially. So that's why cutting it down to 2 is definitely what I recommend. It's the best option, in my opinion. You have your main recruiter, Triple Tinky. Just searches for literally anything at the situation calls for. The newest card of the deck, Supply Squad. This card is just why I even continue to play this deck. It's so good. I originally tried playing it at 2, and then while playing Upstart Goblin to maximize the draw power in the deck, but I found out it wasn't working. I've been playtesting this deck literally the day after Nationals, once all these cards have been legal. And this is the build that I've been playing for the last 4 days, and I've only lost about 3 matches. And I have been playing in rated. I will bump that. I will say that right now. I've only lost about 4 matches and played in rated, and this card is just such a board hitter. Like, it's never a minus, and your opponent has to get rid of it. So with this card, like, if it sits, you just start plussing it, and if you get multiple of them, I don't recommend having more than 2 on board ever, and that's only if you're in a losing position. It's only to get extra ground coverage. Otherwise, I just say sit on 1, so when your opponent MSTs or does get rid of it, you can just drop another one and just have your opponent cry. Like, you always have, like, another one coming hitting board. So that's my recommendation, mainly because with your triple tankies sitting, like, you've got 6 continuous spell cards, so you want to be able to remove them. So make sure to remember Yaksha can destroy any card on the field or in your hand. And Bear, when you Wolfbark your Bear back and its effect is negated, just bring it back, activate the effect, get rid of a Tenki and, like, target itself, just to clear your board if you're not really using your Tenkis or anything, if you're in a winning position. Next comes up the big powerhouses, the 4 1-ofs, your Rekindling, your Soul Charge, your Mind Control, and your Dark Hole. And then lastly, 2 MSTs. On for the traps, 1-ofs, Warning, Bottomless, and Trench Hole. 2 Battle Traps, Deep Prisons. These originally were 2 of the 3 Upstart Goblins. I I had the problem where Upstart Goblin wasn't a guaranteed back row, no matter how much I searched. And I wanted an actual back row card, and so I decided to put these back in, and I don't regret it. Having that extra back row to protect the monster and to actually affect battle phase, that's really important. And I went away from it originally, and I was always a big advocate of at least having 1 to 2 battle-related trap cards. And I went away from it, and I'm really glad I went back to it, because if your opponent realizes that you only do effect negation or normal negation, once they get a monster on the board, they feel very safe, and it is a downside, because then they can just keep poking you and you don't do anything. So having this to be able to draw into, and you can go back to what your actual your other traps do, is very, very beneficial. And if they see a battle trap, they get very hesitant when they actually go into battle. They don't get super greedy. Next, 2 more targets for Murmillo. Nightmares. One of the best trap cards of this year. Probably my favorite one that they've discovered, and I'm really glad that it's finally seen play. So yes, you play a 1-for-1 ratio of Murmillo to Nightmare Trap Holes. 2 breakthrough skills. I like this right now for the fact of like Dweller, all those like monsters that activate on my turn. So I count this as a double trap. So the count is 10, but with these I count these both as 2. So it's like I'm playing 12 actual trap cards, and then with Murmillo I count him as a trap card as well. So it's like I have 15 trap cards that I can potentially open up with. And then the last one, I know you think it's Genshift, but it's actually Call the Haunted. I like Call the Haunted right now with all the random destruction in the back row going on. And most of the time when they're playing Fire Kings, they won't expect this card anymore. And it kind of lost all of its play. And it's like they don't have to worry about Sanctum or anything to really, really punish them in the deck. They'll just like, oh, well, I hit something. Where this card is, you can gain random pluses like Genshift, and Genshift was just bad. Like if you didn't have a monster that you can use it with, it was bad in the early game. It was super dead late game. Where this card was almost always live, and even if you had it in your hand, and you didn't have a monster yet in the graveyard, every monster was just live as like possible. It's like you got any monster in the graveyard, you can just go ahead and set this card and be ready to just win the game. So I'm gonna just go ahead and get into why I feel this deck is good right now. Granted, combo decks are pretty bad right now. They got hit pretty hard. Oh, I'm going to say that. They're not bad. They just got hit pretty hard by the whole don't draw first turn. And this is a combo-based deck. Like, you need 2 of these guys to really make it off. And once you get all 3 working together, the deck is very, very hard to stop. And then you have, like, of course, like, the additional, like, recruiters of the deck and powerhouse plays. So everything works really well. But, I mean, once again, you don't have a standalone Fire King monster that doesn't do something to help it out. Like, Bear is probably the most standalone fire monster in the deck, but it needs to have a clear board to really get it out there or be able to get some damage. That's why these guys are, I feel, the glue to this deck. Because if you don't open up your combo pieces, you need to thin the deck out and you need to grab that other piece, no matter what it is. Murmillo does that. You summon it, you get a card out of your deck, and it allows that first turn mitigation if you are chosen to go first and you can't draw your first card. It allows you to get an even playing field with your opponent. So that's why I decided to bump out the Genshift for the Call the Haunted. The Call the Haunted, it just utilizes and maximizes the potential of every single monster in this main board. Because you can now get the additional pop effect of Murmillo, and it's really good late game. Because if you have a Murmillo in the graveyard, it's a simplified game state. Both players are just setting back row and just waiting to put some damage on board. You set the call, your opponent sets a back row. You end phase, Call the Haunted. You successfully just MST'd and Monster Reborn in the same turn. So that's really good. And Murmillo allows some additional plus plays with your Mind Control and Soul Charge. This is like my favorite. If you're running 4 stars, which is almost every deck, this is fantastic, because it's just like, okay, summon Murmillo, Mind Control your 4-star. I gain a card out of this, you're taking direct damage, and then I'm making a powerful Ixie play. And then Soul Charge, if you have 1 or more of these, you just heavy storm your opponent's back row, and it's just absolutely devastating. And you just do not fear Bottomless under that. So and fearing Bottomless is one thing this deck definitely does, especially when you mass summon from the graveyard. You always have to be aware of where the Bottomless is at, or if there is. And with Murmillo being such a heavy card of the format, Bottomless is almost always on the board, whether because it's usually searched or something. So that's really cool. Especially, it's like, I comboed this off. I actually played against a Hat player, and he summoned Murmillo, searched Bottomless, and the game went on, and I never triggered his Bottomless yet. He waited, like a very good player. But I Kagasuchi'd. I was able to get a Kagasuchi on board, and I had all 3 of these Murmillos in graveyard, and he had 3 back row. I know one of them was the Bottomless, and Warning already hit my Onslaught, so I went for Soul Charge, summoned all 3 Murmillos, popped all of his back row, and then mind controlled his Murmillo, and then made two very powerful overlay monsters, and it was a heck of a turnaround. So definitely something to consider. The deck mitigates everything right now. This helps out in every situation, and then Supply Squad allows you to deep draw your deck and have options. And that's really helpful, especially when you have like your Runics coming back, and then you draw into Murmillo, and then you get a Bottomless, and you just keep going. So, and this card also works fantastic with the whole Supply Squad, since if it's destroyed, this is one of those monsters you just don't care what happens to it. You don't care if it's destroyed, you don't care if it's torrential, you're just there. I mean, if they warning it, you just basically got 2,000 life points on them for nothing. And you've got 2 more just waiting to go, just random to come out at them. So if you play this, it's not getting Bottomless. So the only thing that's going to happen to it is torrential, or it takes up the effect negation trap cards. And then when it dies, you get a plus off of your deck anyway. So really like the way the deck came together this format, and I can't wait for I cannot wait for the first regional of the year. I'm going to debut it, and hopefully it'll do very well. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and mention who is the winner of the pack. Coolest cup ever. The winner of our pack from our video before me and Neo Rancid did is SaxKid921. So please message me all your information, and I will get you your free pack. Now, we were 6 likes away from bumping up that video, bumping up the pack count to 3. So once again, this video will have the opportunity to win another pack. And I'm going to go over the rules again. You just have to, 1, subscribe to my channel. 2, you have to comment on the video. And 3, you have to like the video. If you do all that, you'll be entered to win a pack. And if you share the video, and you can give me a proof that you have shared it, whether it be on my Facebook page or on our team page at Team No Fat Chicks, or my Facebook page, Patrick Guilfoyle, you'll be entered again. So very, very, very simple. And once again, if this video gets 15 likes, I will bump it up to where you will win 3 packs. Okay, so once again, comment, rate, subscribe. Please help me help you. Love you guys. I love doing this, and I love the fact that I'm putting up more videos and more content. Let me know what you guys want to see. The next video that I'm going to be doing is a background on our team story on where Team No Fat Chicks, the name, came from. I know a lot of people have asked me that, and I know that the name itself kind of sounds like it's a little derogatory. It is not about anything shutting down oversized women at all. It is off a movie. So I'll throw that out there right now, but I will explain to you exactly what movie and why we picked it next video. So, once again, this is Galaxy Stream with Team No Fat Chicks signing out of YouTube. You guys have a great night, you have a great format, and I will see you at upcoming events.